How's it going, everyone? It is hot out here, or at least hot in the studio apartment. So I had to switch up the wardrobe. Man, I love my little trench coat. I definitely do. But I had to do something a little different. Man, I hope y'all are doing all right. Having really a lot of fun right now doing this series so far. So appreciate everyone who has checked out this series so far. And if you're brand new to this is literally like the first thing you've ever seen. How's it going? My name is Jarvis Smith. This is Candid Knowledge Redux. Whole entire video podcast series, video journal, video essay. I don't know, just video with the audio, sharing my life experiences about my parents and the lessons they taught me in the wake of their deaths. Kind of the gist of the pod right here. Okay. But before I get into today's material, today's topic, I'm kind of curious to know what y'all are reading. I am definitely checking out this book right here, Darkness, Take My Hand. Something I've been meaning to check out for a while. I literally just got into it, so don't ask me to kind of quote too many things about this book and what's really happening. Just the beginning, and so far, this is what I'm vibing on right now, and some other things too. But this is just one of the things that I'm vibing on right now. But you know what? I think the title of that book is very fitting for the vibe of this episode. Sometimes not all the episodes are going to be black and white, no pun intended here. As far as it just being, happy vibes and just, happy this, happy that. Sometimes things are just definitely tough and challenging. And we got to talk about some challenging things. For me, overall, I always have a positive mindset on some things and I always look to find a positive outlook on my life challenges and what I have to do. But man, I'm not going to lie. The idea of giving into the darkness, that was heavy on my mind, really becoming like the worst version of myself and how enticing that was to do that. Yeah, we're going there this episode. This one's not necessarily for the kids, but it's definitely for people who've been through some things. There's just some times where you just get tired of just being the best version of yourself. You get tired of being available for this. You get tired of just being kind and generous. You just get tired of things, right? Sometimes you feel like, and this tiredness comes out of just this sense of like you feel like you're giving a lot of yourself. You're giving out a lot of your empathy. You're giving out a lot of your selflessness. You're kind of always putting other people before yourself, or you're always, just finding ways to take negative things and I gotta find a positive spin on this and all that stuff like that. Sometimes you just be like, nah, man, you just want to say, no, this thing is just trash. This is just garbage. No, this isn't good. No, sometimes you do want to play that pity party that never ends, right? No, things will not get good or whatever. Sometimes it just feels good to kind of be in that moment, especially when you are going through something that's difficult and challenging. Now, I'm pretty sure some of y'all who are watching this, y'all been through your own challenges in so many different ways, whether it be through career, whether it be through life, whether it be through day-to-day stuff. But I'm just being straight up, like where sometimes you just get these things that come to you at life and you're just like, man, I'm just tired of finding the positive spin on it. I'm tired of, being the person has to be the better person in this. No, I want to be the not so better person. I want to be the worst person in this. No, I want to be the one that kind of gets my get back. I want revenge, right? And I could have just chose to give in to that. I think that the feeling of just wanting to be more toxic for me in particular, if I can really dial in something, just to be like, just to be more dismissive, right? You know, that was a part of me that was like, man, maybe I could lean into that, huh? Maybe I could just kind of be like that. Maybe I can just be more, distant. I can be more avoidant. I can be more, and when people do try to reach, I can just be more negative and mean spirited and all that stuff like that. I don't have to be so nice and generous, but that wasn't going to solve anything. And that's kind of where it comes to the title of this episode, If Romeo Went to Hell That Night. I say if because it plays with this idea of taking something pure. And I just, when I wrote this out, it was really about thinking about the idea of Romeo and Juliet, the storyline, et cetera. And this Romeo representing pureness, love, and all that stuff like that. And just what if this wasn't like that? What if Romeo was just a completely different person? What if he had a different mindset? And, I think that's kind of like what the concept was for me when I was drafting up this and some of the different creative exercises that I was doing when I was kind of coming up with this concept of this, because that's what it was. It felt like I had a choice. I could choose to become the worst version of myself and thinking that it was going to solve all my problems, right? This is the moment right now. I could become just a demon, a monster out here. I can start the process right now, right? And then I'll figure out all the answers to all my problems. I can stop being all these different things and just start being more negative. Stop giving game to people. Stop being generous and kind, all this stuff like that, right? And thinking that that was going to bring me somewhere forward in my life as I was kind of going through my transition, going through my changes, going through the challenging moments where I had to find answers to questions that I did not have answers to at the time, right? So thinking that just giving into darkness, giving into negativity, being a worse version of myself was going to be the thing. And that wasn't the case. It really wasn't the case, but it did feel like that, you know, the idea of just saying, fuck the world, right? It felt like that. Like, yeah, man, if I could just kind of be on that type of shit, this will be great. This will be solve all my problems out here. But it wasn't going to be the case because I had to break it down to two different things, short term and long term. Maybe in the short term, right? You will kind of get your get back, your revenge if that's what you want on certain things. Now it's your turn, right? To be, people were mean to you or whatever, disrespectful to you, dismissive of you, or whatever, right? Playing all that victim stuff. Fine, go ahead. Now it's my turn. Now I'm gonna do it to somebody else who probably didn't deserve it, but I'm gonna be like that anyway, right? Short term, long term, think that's gonna solve any things. But then I had to break it down, like, but the long term consequences of that lifestyle, that direction, those steps that you were gonna take for yourself, that wasn't gonna bring you to where you want to be, as far as healing, growth, understanding, for the true rebirth of myself, right? But it was a battle. It was a little bit of a struggle. I ain't gonna lie. It was a little bit of struggle, man. The idea of like saying, no, I'm not gonna turn the other cheek this time. No, I'm gonna lean into that other cheek this time and and just go all in on being that worst version of myself, thinking that that's gonna bring the solutions to my problems. But it wasn't. What really was the answer was the second part of this, was really understanding that if you're so busy seeing red with anger and hatred and vengeance in your heart, you will never truly get to your purpose. And that's something I knew that I had. I had purpose. I had a direction. Yeah, man, some things are tough out here and some things just don't go your way. You may want to have a certain connection that didn't get established. It can be business connection. It can be a personal connection for relationship. It can be a friendship. It can be whatever. It just doesn't happen, right? It can be career direction. Man, I wanted my career to go this way, but it didn't go that way. Yeah, it can go like that sometimes. You could put a lot of effort into stuff and it still don't go your way. But it happens. Okay, but you still have purpose. And I think that was the main thing that I thought about. And I kept in my mind, knowing that I had purpose in everything that I wanted to do. And that if I was so caught up with vengeance and seeking revenge and seeking all these negative things, thinking that that was going to bring me some type of comfort, bring me the answers to what I wanted, I would never truly get to my purpose. And what's my purpose? I said this in Candle and Knowledge Rebirth. So people who have listened to the audio series, you'll remember this. And for people who are new to me on this journey, this may be brand new to you, but here we go. Magnum opus for me. I'm working on becoming the greatest of all time, which is me basically saying I'm going to become the best version of myself. You're not going to become the best version of yourself, if I truly believe that, by being the most negative, toxic version of yourself, looking to ways to undermine people, to be negative towards people and condescending and all that stuff like that. How do you get that, man? No, you become the best version of yourself by how you give back, how you contribute, how you continue to uplift people. I get it. You can't take everybody on the journey. That's understandable. Some people are on their own paths. Some people can't get the vision of what you're talking about or whatever, but that's okay. But still, the things that brought me to where I'm at in my life overall was never rooted in these type of things of anger and revenge and a thirst for just vengeance or something like that. But, you know, I think that working through that really helped me understand that a lot more. And was I really willing to sacrifice my purpose to become a worse version of myself, to become this more toxic version of myself, to become what I would fear? And I'm not trying to do anything with ageism, but become the old head that's just like, why is this old guy just so mad at everything? What happened to this guy? He's just mad at everything. Thinking that, like, yeah, that's just how life is, man, because that's how my life was. So now I'm going to put that on everybody else that I meet in my life, thinking that that's going to be like the answer. That shit is whack. That really is whack, though. No, man. It's like, it's about uplifting, man. It's about giving back to the game. It's about contributing back to people. It's about how you can contribute to people who really do believe in you And I think too, a part of that would be just like turning my back on some of the people who've always put themselves into me, right? Unconditionally. I think about all the things that my parents have done and all the hard work they've done. They never raised us like that. So now me becoming a worse version of myself, toxic, negative, or whatever, that would be like a sabotage to all the hard work that they did, because they didn't raise us like that. They never raised us like that to be selfish or to be negative or to be, you know, putting down of others or to be competitive. They raised us to be confident in ourselves, to understand our direction, but not to be negative towards someone else to get ahead. So that would be a sabotage to that. It would be a sabotage to some other great people that I met in my life throughout my journey as well, you know, and I wouldn't want to become like that. Who would I be if I became that person? Not the person that's on their purpose, a person that's trying to become something that I know that I'm not. There's nothing wrong with my character. So I'm not going to sacrifice my character to give into it. I still see the light, and I'm still on my way and I'm still driven by my purpose. And I think that's the thing that always keeps me motivated to not go the other direction, even when the other direction feels like it's going to give me the answers that I want, even though it's going to give me that vindication that I feel like I need in that moment. It's okay to feel down. It's okay to have those negative moments. It's okay to sometimes have that pity party that may last a day or two. Hell, it might even last a week. All right. Sometimes depends on what you're going through. It's understandable. Sometimes it might last longer than that for some people, but it can't be the thing that defines you. These are the reasons why I can't go bad. I can't turn heel for all my wrestling fans out there. I have to continue to be the best version of myself, continue to walk down my direction for the purpose that I am on. Because if I lose my purpose, then I'm going to lose my way. And if I truly don't become the individual, the man that I want to become, it's because somewhere along that journey, you stopped believing in your purpose. You stopped trying to become the best version of yourself. Somewhere along that way, you went to hell that night. And that's why this episode, If Romeo Went to Hell That Night, is titled that, because I ain't giving up on myself.